black thing go from left to right, and I thought, I'm going to die out here. No one's ever going to know.
I couldn't believe what my eyeballs were showing me. I'll never forget how evil the eyes were. It was horrible. I mean, I've never seen nothing that evil.
It ran towards me at a rate that I can't even explain. Turned and stared at me, and this look of, I just want to kill you. I want to say it was human, but it wasn't.
He was yelling at me to grab a gun. I was like, for what? He said, just grab a gun. And there's footprints all the way to the door of my house. It had went inside my garage, all the way to the door.
911, what are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
See ya!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
You're listening to Sasquatch Chronicles. Check us out online at sasquatchchronicles.com. If you've had an encounter, email me. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Got a great show planned for you tonight. Going to be speaking to Dave. And Dave ran into this creature several times. And he'll kind of recount what happened to him. And some of the details in the beginning don't seem important until Dave kind of gets to the point where he actually shot this thing. And then some of those details make sense. Very interesting account. And I'm still not really sure what Dave ran into. If it's a Sasquatch, or I guess the question is, what is a Sasquatch? But if you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. How's everyone doing tonight? Thank you again for being here. Let's jump into it tonight. Dave, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being here, and I was reading through your email you sent me about your encounter. If you would, for the audience, for those that haven't read it, I put it up on SasquatchChronicles.com, but for those who haven't read it, would you start from the beginning and just kind of tell us what you were out doing and walk us into what happened, Dave?
Okay. Well, this has happened back in the 90s, and I was fresh out of high school and started community college, and I had a friend, Bruce, was my buddy in high school, kind of, and we went to community college together. We got really close, so I would do odd jobs and work on farms and whatnot, and so I started working pretty close with my friend Bruce there on his grandfather's farm, mending fences and herding cows or whatever. So we started, hunting quite a bit, and we were both pretty good hunters, and Bruce was an excellent hunter. So we kind of, we'd go out and hunt, and we were actually building a blind one time up on the top of a hill. His grandfather owned lots of acreage, and of course this area is surrounded by it's a pretty good sized lake, so separated by two counties. And he had a farm on the east side and a farm on the west side, and so we were building a hunting blind, and we kept noticing that feeling of being watched, and of course we kind of shrugged it off. And as we hunted this property, you'd always have that feeling of something kind of watching you. So we wasn't really finding tracks or anything. We knew that there was coyotes and bobcats, and we had beavers and everything else. So as time progressed, we just kept getting feelings and whatnot, and we would just kind of joke around that it was a Sasquatch, as Bruce would call them, Sasquatch. So one particular night, I got a call. It was a Sunday night. I got a call from Bruce, and like I said, he wouldn't scare very easy. And I was at home in another county about 20 miles away, and he called and said, I need you to get out here, as soon as you can. And I was like, what for? It's kind of weird, but I said, I'll be there. So we showed up, and I showed up, and he was waiting for me, and it was kind of cold, winterish time, and he was just really spooked, and so we jumped in the truck and headed to the back 40, which on that side of the lake is kind of flat fields, and then it kind of slopes up, pretty high hill, and then off the back side of that would slope down into what they call public lands, which is along the lake side, and he was apparently up there cutting paths for his deer paths for our hunts, and with the bush hog and the tractor had ran out of diesel. So that's no big deal. It was getting dark, and he thought, well, I'll just walk back to the house and get the truck and get some diesel. As he was kind of coming back, got that same old feeling something's watching me, which he even had a time where, a bobcat climbed a tree while he was hunting. So he was kind of familiar with that, and bobcats kind of track you a little bit, but this was a little bit different. So it kind of got him nervous, and, as he walked, it would walk and kind of parallel him a little bit in the woods. And so, kept getting closer. And so eventually, long story short, he kind of, ran out of the woods and was calling me at the same time. And once he got to the field, it kind of stopped, stayed back in the shadows, whatever this thing was. So that's when he called me. And of course, he didn't want to tell me that it was because he felt something tracking him that, guys don't want to say when they're scared. So, anyway, we went back up there, and of course, that same feeling. So I kind of stayed there and watched around. We had a rifle with us, and he filled the tractor back up with diesel, and we got out of there. And that happened several occasions. We were cutting fence posts with his dad one day. Cedar posts. We'll cut small saplings into cedar posts and use them for fencing. And we were back there cutting these posts on the bottom side of the hill, and I looked over at him and I was like, man, it's something, it's back. It's sitting here watching us, and like I said, we got pretty used to this thing showing up, not seeing anything, not really hearing anything, but that feeling, that eerie, I wouldn't say dread, but kind of close to a dreadful feeling. So we just kind of looked at each other and shrugged it off. Well, his dad was, we were running chainsaws, and his dad just cut his saw off, and he said, man, something's watching us. I can feel it. And we kind of laughed and said, yeah, it's been watching us for a while, apparently. And so we would hunt that side of the property, and then we'd also hunt I think the west side of the property, which is a different county, and it's mainly, think about it as three fingers stuck out like peninsulas, and those are like the top, and then everything off to the sides just fall off into what we call big hollows or hollers or whatever here in Tennessee. So pretty deep. I mean, not deep enough for hemlocks to grow or anything like that, but heavy hardwoods. And so we had deer stands on top in what part was field. We would go out there before daylight and climb up in a stand. And when this thing, or whatever this is, when it was not there, you climb up in the stand and you could hear, as daylight came, squirrels and stuff would be running around. You can tell a squirrel versus something, but sometimes you get out there and it would just be dead silent. Every now and then you might hear a stick break or something, but if it was dead silent and there was no wildlife, there wasn't a whole lot of bugs because it was fall year deer season, so not a whole lot of bugs, but no squirrels, nothing like that. And we just knew that hunting was no good. If it was windy up on top, we'd go down on the hillside and we would hunt actually in the woods off in the hollow, and took several deer out of there. But I mean, it was, if you had that feeling and you